大家好，老师从业中医男科30余年，帮助了数千名海内外华人朋友通过中药调理重回男性雄风。如果你也存在房事时间短、勃起无力、硬度差、中途疲软、肾虚、前列腺炎等问题，现在就加中医老师微信574-993-200，纯中药，一人一方，治根治本，帮助你持续坚挺20至40分钟，补肾壮阳，延时助勃，彻底告别快男软男。记住微信574-993-200。
Absolutely. There's no way I'd go back and change a thing. I wouldn't do it. My first experience was I was doing pro wrestling in Mooresville, North Carolina. Dean Malenko, who's a pro wrestler, was staying at my house. He showed me this tape, and there was these two guys on there, and they were like open hand striking, bang, bang, hitting each other. And then they were kicking and kneeing and elbowing and then throwing each other to the ground and working these submissions. And I was like, I go, man, that is like, I've never seen him like that before. It was just wild. Like, what is that? And I said, man, I want to try that. He took me to Miami to his dad's place. And that's where Sammy Saranaka was, who was the promoter for this organization over in Japan called Pay Grace. I don't realize what I'm walking into here, right? I'm thinking 1,000 people. I walk into this arena, man, there's 17,000 people. What? I've always wanted to make sure that everybody remembered my name. Even as a young kid, I wanted to be somebody. I've always had that in me, like, I just want to be great. When I was leaning down, Sammy came over and they started chanting. Sammy goes, hey, they're chanting your name. Yes. When you get that kind of vibe and people are screaming and chanting, it's a drug. And I chased that my whole career. I couldn't get anybody to train with me. I was trying to bring kickboxers in. I say, go ahead and kick and punch at me. Throw knees, elbows, whatever you do, and I'm going to shoot on you. And they're like, what? I'm going to grab you and take you to the ground. And they're like, no, you're not. I was like, no, I'm not. It's not real. I just want you to do that because I'm training for this thing. And they would look at me like I was crazy. Like, no, you're not doing that. So then I started reaching out to people who were a little bit rough, that did street fights. You could tell they were tough kids on the street, and I would invite them in to train. One of my students, it was Scott Bazak, handed me this flyer and said, hey, they're doing this no holds barred thing, anything goes. And I kind of like flipped it back like, that's that Hulk Hogan stuff. And he goes, no. I mean, this is a real deal. They do these things like we're doing in Japan, but it's closed fist. So I looked at it and I took it and I was like, oh, well, it's not real. There's no way that can happen.
8 of the deadliest fighters in the world will meet in a no-holds-barred combat to determine who is the ultimate fighting champion.
I had a fight 3 days prior to that fight in Denver. I get over to Japan. I knock Fouquet out with a knee. I get on a plane. I fly to Denver, Colorado. We land. They changed the card 7 times, so you really didn't know going into the ring, well, who am I really fighting now?
26-year-old jiu-jitsu master.
Here's this guy wearing his black belt with his gi on. He's walking and strutting around. All these people are following him and showboating. And I was like, I'm going to fight a guy in pajamas? Come on, man. And it was really starting to get funny to me. I didn't take it serious. I just literally thought, like, hey, I'm going to kill these guys.
Just back from the Japanese professional circuit, Ken Shamrock.
That's a lot of the Brazilian contingent not liking Ken Shamrock.
And we're ready to start, ladies and gentlemen. I think this will be a very exciting bout. Here they go. Look at that. Here's another thing. Right to the two.
They go right away.
Horse takes the mouth. That's exactly what a horse wants to be. Royce, watch this. There goes Royce. He looks like he's going for the back. There's that. Royce, there's the tap. There's the tap. That's it. That's the power of jiu-jitsu.
This is like good sportsmanship going on here. They're shaking hands and giving each other a hug. That's great.
So I'm not used to this kind of stuff. Hopefully I won't do this again. I'll be a little more prepared for it next time, you know. Hopefully I'll give him a better fight, you know.
Even when I lost, I saw an opportunity there with all the media coverage I got off of the loss. And that all of a sudden I was popular. I can hold open tryouts. I can develop this whole team that I can market and I can build like they do with karate studios. And I started thinking like that right away, going, there's an opportunity here, you know? And so that's when I started coming up with the name, Lions, and so I took advantage of being able to find guys to come train with me.
I get to go meet Ken. I'm looking at him like, he was this big bodybuilder. I've fought guys like that before. I thought it was gonna be easy. He beat me down for a good half an hour and then made me clean the gym, mop my blood off the mat, clean the bathrooms, and then I had to do 500 sit-ups, push-ups, leg lifts, and squats. That was just the grappling. So a week later, he kicked everybody out of the gym. There was no rounds. We just went at it. I remember probably after about what felt like 3 hours, someone walked into the gym and they looked at Ken. They're like, Ken, why did you do that to his face? And Ken looks at him and goes, look what he did to my face. After that, I was one of the guys.
Vernon was the first one, and then Scott was another one, and I just beat him up and just tell him, listen, you got to keep going. You get up, keep getting up, keep getting up. And if they did that, then, you know, I'd let them move on. I've had hundreds of guys show up. And I had, you know, what, 12 guys out of the 15 years that passed? 12.
Back to the octagon by public demand, Ken Wayne Shamrock.
Very popular with the crowd. UFC itself captured the imagination of everybody. It was weird. When Ken walked out, it was like immediately identified with him for some reason. And I remember going, I'm gonna train with that guy. I mean, I told everybody that. When I went out there to UFC 3 and met Ken and those guys, he's like, well, you know, hey, would you be interested in joining our team? I started thinking, I was like, well, yeah, this would be kind of a good idea because these guys, you know, train in this method. I've never trained in this method. So I said, yeah, you know, I said, okay, you know, what's it about? He goes, well, we have this tryout.
Make it happen, let's go!
All right, we start with 500 squats, 500 leg lifts, and 200 push-ups. You had to run a mile and a half, and then you had to fight.
I actually initiated Guy. I see him with these, he has his ponytail, and he'd like to pull his hair off, and he'd be like, yes, I'm Guy Mezger, I'm so beautiful. And I'm like, whatever, dude. I'd put him in all kind of ankle locks, and to me, that was my way of saying, hey, in your face, you went out there and you knocked this guy out, but I can submit you.
We literally fought for almost 40 minutes, and I'm not exaggerating. That was my tryout, and I made the team, and I guess the rest is history now.
They lived in a fighter's house. They stayed there for a year. And all they did was eat, sleep, and train. These guys would develop what most people would develop in 5 years in 6 months. And I provided all of it.
They're ready to throw the towel in, and it's
Smith threw it in. Smith threw it in.
Metzger.
All these people were training with Ken because he knew how to get people ready for a fight. We were seeing stuff that we had never seen before.
And it's over.
There wasn't a format in which for us to train. In boxing, there's a format. Well, we didn't have that. We were the first group that put together, you know, for lack of better terms, a curriculum in order for us to put a base together to compete in this.
Shamrock wins the super fight.
It was very evident the way we were training and how we were training was producing very high-level fighters.
Oh, my! He's out! He's out cold! He's out cold!
You saw the confidence because whatever they were going to face in the ring, they faced worse because the tryouts were definitely worse. You could see it in every one of them when they walked in. People knew where they came from.
That's it. That's it. He got it. What a performance by Jerry Bolander.
UFC 13, I break my hand on Lineker's head. You know, they figured it's done. Everybody came together just to help me. I'm thinking, oh, hell with it, man. You know, I can fight.
Down and Ortiz is throwing heavy leather.
I remember fighting not for myself, not because I wanted to be the champ, not because it was about me getting the accolades. This was the first time that I stepped in the ring because I didn't want to let my team down.
That's what he's been working on at the Lions Den.
And he's got it. He's tapping out, and Metzger caught him.
Wins it.
Metzger caught him.
Oh, a tremendous medal Metzger showed there.
There's Jerry Bolander, Pete Williams, Frank. You think about some of the people you haven't seen forever, and you see them in a picture and how close you were. Everybody's just kind of gone off and kind of started living a different life now. So it's just moving forward. But everyone has been successful, right? And I truly believe it's because what was instilled in them in training. It became almost a therapy, almost a life learning lesson, right? Like things that you instill in people that will last forever.
It's been a long road, and I'm happy to see that it has budded into what it is now, because I can say that I was there during the foundation of it. Ken is going to be remembered because of his attributes to the UFC, because of how many fighters that he has trained. For me to know that I trained with Ken, I'm cool with that.
Nobody, and I mean nobody, makes it anywhere without somebody giving them a hand. Some friendships you don't have to sit there and be, you know, in touch with somebody or nurture it every freaking day. I mean, I know that if these guys called me, they needed something, I'd be there. And I feel like they would be too.
Well, you're trusting people to do something so you can become great. And the only way that can happen is the person next to you does his job. The only way that this team could be great was through the people that were pushing it. The bond will never be broken with all of us because we were a part of something great.